You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on. News 25 is brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law, voted best of Pahrump for 4 years. Give them a call, 775-727-9900. News 25 is also brought to you by Gunny's Air Conditioning and Heating. New, service, and repair. Call Gunny's, 775-727-6800.
Hello and welcome to this edition of News 25. I'm Unette Gentry. Thanks for joining us here and on 8th Country Radio. We're also streaming at KPVM.tv and on Roku this Thursday, February 29th, Leap Day. And in breaking news, News 25 learns that Nye County Clerk Mark Kampf resigns from his position. So we reached out to Kampf, but he declines to make a statement at this time. News 25 will keep you updated as this story develops. And in more local news, a two-vehicle crash occurs Wednesday evening at the intersection of Calvada and Pahrump Valley Boulevard. Nye County Sheriff's Office deputies and NHP arrive at the scene as one driver was taken to Desert View Hospital soon after by the accident happening. And that accident had traffic diverted around the crash site. Thankfully, there are no other reported injuries. Turning to international news, Israel opens fire on Palestinians waiting for aid, and that results in more than 100 deaths. That actually leaves others wounded, totaling nearly 700. RJ Camacho reports.
The death toll has risen in Gaza once again, now being 30,035, with another 70,457 wounded, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. In response, a regional director of the World Health Organization, Hanan Balki, decried the latest surge in the Palestinian death toll and has urged world leaders to join her in a push for a permanent ceasefire. She went on to X, formerly known as Twitter, to state that the 30,000s are not mere statistics. They are human lives. As a doctor and humanitarian, I will keep advocating for the right of all people to life and health. In connection to the recent spikes in deaths in Gaza, troops with the Israeli military had fired at a crowd of people who were waiting for aid in Gaza City, killing approximately 104 and leaving 760 others wounded. Originally, it was reported by health officials in Gaza, but was later confirmed by Israel that the troops did indeed open fire on a crowd waiting for aid. An anonymous official with Israel stated that the troops opened fire on the crowd after they allegedly approached them in a threatening way. The Israeli military has also released a statement saying that dozens were killed and injured from pushing, trampling, and being run over by the trucks. One of the victims claimed that when troops opened fire on the crowd, everyone scattered, causing people to hide underneath nearby cars. When the shooting had stopped, they approached the aid trucks and were allegedly fired at again. The shooting in Gaza City has sparked responses from both Egypt and a Palestinian diplomat at the United Nations. Egypt has condemned the killing that the Gaza Health Ministry has called a massacre. A statement from Egypt's foreign ministry reads, "It is a heinous crime to target peaceful civilians who are rushing to get their share of humanitarian aid. It is a flagrant violation of the international law and the international humanitarian law, and also shows disregard to the sanctity of human lives." The Palestinian ambassador, Ibrahim Quraishi, called for an end to the massacre. Meanwhile, the UNRWA, which is the UN agency responsible for providing aid to Palestinian refugees, has stated that they may have to scale down operations at the end of March, should they not secure any new influx of funds. The UNRWA has had approximately $450 million in funding frozen from donor countries after Israel alleged that some of the agency's employees were involved in the October 7th attack on southern Israel that ignited the current war. Felipe Lazzarini, who is the head of the agency, stated that there is no funding visibility past March, although the agency is currently in talks with the European Commission to secure a donation of $89 million that could temporarily alleviate the agency's financial struggles.
Turning to election news, First Lady Jill Biden is going to make a stop in Nevada this weekend as part of her Women for Biden-Harris tour. Dr. Biden will be making stops in Nevada, Georgia, Arizona, and Wisconsin in order to meet with women to discuss the upcoming election, as well as encouraging more women to vote. Details of her Nevada stops have not been released as of yet. Dr. Biden's tour begins tomorrow, March 1st, and ends this Sunday, March 3rd. And modern technology allows for new leads in a case that stems back to October 1980, where a body was found 60 miles south of Tonopah.
Back in October of 1980, the Nye County Sheriff's Office had located the remains of an unknown male adult that was approximately a mile east of the US 95 and 60 miles south of Tonopah near a dirt road. The Nevada State Police assisted in investigating the incident after being contacted by the NCSO and collected several items from the scene that helped reveal that the cause of death was homicide via several gunshot wounds. The Nevada State Police's investigation division began to conduct several interviews and made attempts to further the investigation, as well as identify the victim through fingerprints, dental records, press releases, and evidentiary items from the scene. However, no significant leads could be established at the time. However, in March of 2022, the FBI, Nevada State Police, and NAM US enlisted the assistance of Othram, which is an American company that specializes in forensic genealogy. Othram's test results had produced a genetic report and gave detectives several new leads. With the assistance of the FBI, the remains were identified in December of 2023 as Albert Matass of Commerce, California. According to the press release, Albert's family lost contact with him in September of 1978. The investigation into the death of Albert Matass is still ongoing, and the Nevada State Police Investigation Division is urging anyone with information to contact them by calling 775-684-7456.
All right, don't grab that remote because we have breaking news about a new reporter and journalist here at News 25. All that and more after the break.
You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on. This segment of the news is brought to you by Pahrumps United Rentals. From home to job site, they have all your equipment needs. Call 775-990-4260.
Welcome back to News 25. Well, as this Southern Nevada news network continues to grow across the Silver State, Maria Centers is joining us with the latest from Las Vegas.
As Nevada's political season heats up, I had the opportunity to sit down with County Commission candidate Ryan Hamilton of District A, whose motto is, "Let's make Las Vegas clean again." Ryan Hamilton, thank you so much for joining us here at Southern Nevada News Network. We love your motto. Tell us about it.
Running to make Las Vegas clean, safe, and convenient again. I think everybody who's been in town for even a short period of time has experienced a quality of life decline. That's from traffic to homelessness to crime. We're not heading in the right direction. Prices are up. We have the second highest grocery bills of any state right now. We have the second highest rates of car insurance here in the Valley. We have gasoline prices regularly in the top 5 of any state in the country. And we need to change quick.
How are you going to actually make changes?
Well, I guess it depends on the issue. With respect to traffic, there are so many opportunities for improvement. The current county commission brought F1 to town without even doing a traffic study. It doesn't take a genius to know that you're going to need to do a traffic study before one of the biggest special events our town has ever hosted in order to mitigate the impact of that traffic. Secondly, if you go to the west side of town right now, you've got Hacienda, Jones, Decatur, and Torrey Pines all down to one lane within a single square mile. It doesn't take an expert to know that you either have to space those projects out physically or through time in order to avoid impacting people at maximum inconvenience. And so I think those are areas that are ripe for change. With respect to homelessness in the town right now, there really is no concerted effort. There certainly is no regional plan. So any focus that I'd be able to bring to bear on that issue would be an improvement from where we currently stand. And the animal shelter is one of the worst run animal shelters that we have in the country. They euthanized 91% more animals in the 2022 year than they did in the previous year. They're being sued for neglect and abuse by No Kill Las Vegas, an animal rights group. Any organized effort that we can bring to build new leadership there and to change the conditions to help our animals, those will be meaningful improvements. So there's plenty of opportunity to drill down and get to the specifics, but right now it doesn't look like there's even a vision.
Reporting from the Las Vegas Strip, I'm Maria Senders with Southern Nevada News Network.
Well, please tune in tomorrow night for the finale, and it's our second part of a two-part special with Clark County Commission candidate Ryan Hamilton, where he delves into more detail about how he will actually facilitate change if he's elected. And News 25 is speaking with William Hochstedler, who is running for U.S. Senate at the Lincoln Day dinner. He spoke with News 25's Chris Palermo, and he's talking about issues that concern us all in this current economy.
People are concerned about rising energy costs, rising grocery costs. So how do we deal with that?
Well, luckily, Nevada is at the heart of energy production in the ways of renewables and things of that nature. Everybody knows that we're getting lithium. We know that electric cars are somewhat involved in the future. Solar is a big deal. And now it's a matter of where do we place the solar so that we don't have to look at it every day. And that's the big issue for the rural areas. The city of Las Vegas doesn't have the space to put the solar, and so sometimes it encroaches on our rural areas. So we have to balance that.
So I was wondering, in the news lately, we had this issue with ballots being reported as counted. Are you concerned that that might showcase some discrepancies in the upcoming election?
Well, we always have to be vigilant about our elections, and that goes back a long time ago. That's not just recent events of 2020. We always want to watch our election processes and make sure everything's clean, and that's why we have county clerks that are responsible for that. So again, a county clerk, being an elected official in most cases, has to be able to be for the people and make sure that the votes are counted correctly. Make sure all the mechanisms are in place to ensure safety and security of that ballot. Your ballot is sacred.
What are some of the real finite, detailed issues that somebody might want to come out and really needs to vote you on?
Well, the reason that people really need to vote, and keep in mind that a lot of people didn't vote in the last election and the election before that because they've given up. So our party has been fractured in such a way, the Republican Party is fractured in such a way that nobody feels that their vote counts or they don't have trust in the system. You know, it might be a voter issue, voter integrity issue, and we got to make sure that people can trust the government. So we want to bring back reasonable people, people with ethics, people with morality, and people that can always do the right thing, because when you do the right thing, people will come to you. And we want to make sure people come to the polls and vote for the candidate of their choice.
So you said something interesting about development, but there's a fine line there. For example, there's talk of, not too far from here, a spaceport being built. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I've heard of the spaceport, and I don't know a lot about it. However, I think it could be good for our economy. I don't know that it's going to do anything environmentally to damage us. I think it could be a good thing, and I need to look into it more, and I promise I will.
Thank you so much, William.
News 25 will have more candidate interviews throughout the rest of this week and next week on our broadcasts. And switching gears now, Tressa Wask from Pets Are Worth Saving is telling us about a cute cat named Quicksilver who's looking for his forever home.
This is Quicksilver. Quicksilver is approximately 3 months old. He came from a feral colony. We have his mom and his sister, and they're all very loving cats. He is just dying for attention. He's a loving family. Somebody's going to hold him a lot. He's not neutered yet, but he will soon be. And he does good with this in about anything. He likes children. He likes people just in general, just to be held. To find out more about Quick, you can go to our website at nevadapaws.com. Visit our store at 520 East Street, Suite C. Visit our Facebook page at Pets Are Worth Saving Group. Our phone number is 775-253-5051. He is just lots and lots of love.
And don't grab that remote, because we're telling you about health concerns concerning feline influenza. All that and more after the break.
You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on. News 25 is brought to you by Mountain West Lawyers, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500.
Welcome back. Well, Valley Electric Association is taking us on a trip to see the roots of a utility pole and its transformation into what we use to bring utilities and electricity into our homes.
This segment of News 25 is brought to you by Valley Electric and its family of companies focused on serving our members. We're better together.
Ever wonder how a tree becomes a utility pole? In the United States, most electric distribution poles are made from southern yellow pine, a species grown throughout the southeastern region of the country. Virtually all of these distribution poles are cut from carefully managed stands of timber, usually from 35 to 40 years of age. Only about 15 to 20% of pole-sized trees are actually of high enough quality physically for possible use as utility poles. Once harvested, the selected trees are delivered to the processing facility for debarking and machining. After being cut to the desired length, they are measured to determine the proper size class. The pole's class determines its load capacity. Next, poles are dried and sterilized to kill any decay spores that may be present in the wood, a process that normally takes 1 to 3 days. After the poles are dried, they are spread out on skids for framing and inspection. Framing consists of cleaning any bark left over on the poles from peeling, putting required gaines on the poles, boring all necessary holes, and applying burn brands or inset metal tags to the face of the pole. The tags identify the producer, date of treatment, preservative, required preservative retention, length, and class of the pole. Once the framing process is completed, poles are inspected by the producer and then by any outside inspection requested by the consumer. After framing and inspection, the poles are placed on wheeled trams and loaded into long metal treating cylinders that are sealed prior to the poles being subjected to a pressure vacuum treating cycle. After treatment, sample borings are taken from the treated poles and analyzed to determine if the desired preservative penetration and retention requirements have been met. If a pole meets all physical and treatment requirements, it's ready for shipment to your electric cooperative where it's installed to support power lines in your community, delivering the safe, reliable power you depend on. If you'd like to learn more about the life cycle of a utility pole, contact your local electric cooperative.
Well, you may have heard of feline influenza, but there's also canine influenza, which is causing concern at the Southern Nevada Health District and for local veterinarians. Anthony Roberts is telling us more.
Canine influenza is on the rise in the Las Vegas area. According to the Animal Foundation, they currently have 6 positive cases and another 136 dogs showing symptoms. According to Dr. Neal of the Cheyenne West Animal Hospital, it is a concern because it is highly contagious. Signs to look for include coughing, sneezing, and nasal discharge, which begins clear but eventually becomes yellow. It is important to have your dog vaccinated to reduce the risk of infection. The vaccine for the virus is not one of the routine vaccines. For more information about the vaccine, you are urged to talk to your local veterinarian.
Well, if you're not nursing your pooch back to health, which hopefully is going to make a full recovery for all those sick canines out there, if you're looking for something to do this weekend, Mikey Ruhand is giving us a weekend road trip tip.
Looking to get away this weekend? Just about an hour away in Tacoma, California, the China Ranch Trail and Slot Canyon, which provides access to a network of hiking trails along Willow Creek and the Amargosa River. Often called the crown jewel of the Mojave Desert, the Amargosa is the only free-flowing river in the Death Valley region of the Mojave, providing a rare and lush riparian area in the desert. The narrow Amargosa Canyon is known for its dense greenery and the shallow Amargosa River, complete with hanging gardens and a small waterfall. The river flows year-round, dropping south from Nevada and finally flowing into Death Valley National Park. The precious water from this desert river has allowed people to live here on and off for the past 8,000 years. Also along this trail, the Tonopah and Tidewater was the last railroad built in the Death Valley area, and although it never actually made it to either Tonopah or the Tidewaters of its intended terminus at San Diego, it operated from 1907 to 1940, owned by the Pacific Borax Corporation.
News 25 WeatherCam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Pahrump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
All right, let's take a look outside our live Lerner and Rowe weather cam from our backyard. Literally, look at the horses, the mountains with scattered clouds. We'll take a closer look at that weather with wind ripping all around the valley after the break.
News 25 weather is brought to you by Dairy Council of Nevada. Undeniably delicious, undeniably dairy. Enjoy what's real.
Good evening, Nevada. I'm Roy Rosal here from the Channel 25 Weather Studios and streaming everywhere at KPVM.tv. Taking a look at Nevada right now. Up in northern Nevada, Fernley is at 59 degrees, Fallon is at 63 degrees, Carson City at 53, Tonopah at 56, Goldfield also at 56, our weather twins of the day, just like me, and that wind advisory symbol in the corner. Beatty is at 66 degrees, Amargosa at 73, Las Vegas is 69, and Death Valley finally hit the 80s at 82 degrees. Here in the Paradise of Pahrump, it is currently 65 degrees. It was sunny today. The high just a little while ago was 69 degrees. Humidity 31%, and the sun rose this morning at 6:14 and set at 5:38 p.m. Humidity 53%, and the low tonight is going to be 49 degrees. Taking a look at the 7-day forecast, you can see that wind advisory tomorrow and Saturday of this week, and there's also a 24% chance of rain on Saturday. It is going to be partly cloudy into next week, and we're going back up into the low 60s next week, but this weekend we're going to be in the high 50s. Now, just like I said yesterday, don't blow away, because that wind advisory is going to be very strong. Back to the desk, here's Unette.
Good to see you on weather there, Rory, and hold on to your hats out there. Like she said, winds gusting nearly 30 miles an hour over the weekend. Well, that does it for this edition of News 25. I'm Unette Gentry, and from all of us here at KPVM and A's Country Radio, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the air next newscast. Good night.